Good evening and welcome to this, the fourth series of The World Today, which we're recording, as we often do, in the Bolivar Hall in London. Today we're going to discuss a crisis that has erupted in Spain over the last years, but has now been exacerbated by the decision of the Spanish government, led by the right-wing Partido Popular, the PP, and its leader Rajoy, to provoke the people of Catalonia into doing something that they did not wish to do in this particular way in the first place. What happened is this, to summarize the facts very clearly. The demand for Catalan independence has been growing over the years. The demand of, it appears, a majority of Catalonian people has been to be permitted a referendum to determine their own future. A referendum that was permitted by the British government in Scotland, a referendum which is considered quite normal in other parts of the world. The right-wing Spanish government refused to permit even a referendum. And that is how the situation for them got out of control, because the Catalan parliament had a majority of people who supported independence and certainly supported a referendum. This referendum was not allowed by the central government. The Catalan parliament voted to have it regardless, largely, of course, as a symbolic exercise, but also as a political exercise to make sure the arguments were heard. The Spanish government, backed by the European Union, backed by the Spanish Socialist Party, backed by the institutions created after the fall of Franco, decided to send in the hated Guardia Civil, the national police, with the army on standby, in order to prevent people from voting. They went in, they destroyed polling booths, they occupied places where the vote was going to take place, but the vote did take place. A large number of people who vote in elections, a majority, decided to go and cast their vote, and Rajoy's attempt to stop the voting backfired badly. After the vote, which registered a majority for having a referendum, indicating that the mood was changing rapidly in Catalonia, led to the dissolution of the elected Catalan parliament, the imprisonment of its leaders. Some fled to Brussels, an odd place, if I may say so, to seek refuge given the background, but never mind. The others went to Madrid to face trial, were remanded in custody, including the Speaker of the Catalan Assembly. There was a general strike in Barcelona and a big rally to demand the immediate release of the imprisoned Catalan leaders, and up to 1 million people attended this, showing that the mood is changing rapidly in parts of the country, including Barcelona, against the Spanish national government. One of the changes that has taken place in Catalonia is the emergence of a radical left party, the CUP, which has been active for a number of years. Last year on The World Today, we reported from Barcelona, from the Catalan parliament as it was then, before it was closed down by the Spanish state, and interviewed members of CUP. We are very happy now to have with us in the studio Eulalia Reguant, who has been a member of parliament, is active in the localities and local movements of CUP, and speaks on its behalf all over the world. Eulalia, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Tell me something. Let's start with the current situation, like now. What is the mood in Catalonia?
Well, now, after the Spanish government suspended the autonomy and the Catalan institutions, they decided that we needed elections. So on 21st of December, we will have illegitimate elections. The situation now that we have these elections, for us, would have been better to boycott these elections, but not as just CUP doing it with the whole democratic parties, but most of them, they before talking with anyone, they decided just to run the elections, so we couldn't change this, so this is why we decided to go there. Nowadays, one of the main things in Catalonia is that we still have 10 people in jail, just as political prisoners, having elections with 8 members of the government in jail, with 2 representatives of the most important associations, independentist associations in jail, that cannot be normal. So now most of the people in Catalonia is just organizing themselves to show to just not only to the Spanish government but to the whole world that we want them home, but also that these elections, the 21st of December, will not change anything, that most of the people still wants to have a republic, so that we need to work on this, that we cannot let them win.
Explain something to me. I mean, I fully understand the symbolic value of having the vote and even a declaration of independence. But in terms of tactics to win over people in the rest of the country, it seemed to us, observing this process from the outside, that there was nothing else planned apart from the Declaration of Independence. Because even if you're doing it symbolically, you have to have some planning. What are we going to do if the government does this? What are we going to do if the government does that? Instead, the dominant National Party had no plans at all. What did they think was going to happen? Rajoy had made it clear he wasn't going to tolerate it. So his views were, known, well advertised. They were going to stop it. I mean, one doesn't want to be critical of people, some of whom are now in exile and some of whom are in prison, but clearly some mistakes were made.
One of the things that the Catalan government, with this strange coalition, they were expecting always that the Spanish government will sit just to talk. And this is why they didn't have any plan. It was just for them impossible to imagine the situation that we as CUP had been always said that would going to happen. It was just okay. The only way of breaking this constitutional pact that we have, it's not allowing us to have a referendum, it's just disobeying. And with disobedience, we know that we will have repression.
This is very interesting. In other words, for them, it was a bargaining thing. Let's declare independence. This will force the Spanish state to come and negotiate with us.
With the declaration of independence, they knew the repression. The main thing it was with the referendum. They never thought that we could arrive the 1st of October with nothing talked with the Spanish government. And it was this point when things started to change. And at this point, it was completely impossible to have a plan, because it was just okay. The things, they were going really fast, and the repression started
immediately after.
Yeah.
If the December the 21st election results in virtually the same thing, that you have a small majority of pro-independence parties elected to parliament, so then it's a return to the status quo, which puts the onus on Rajoy. Is he going to accept the new parliament or not? But what about your side? What will you do if you are re-elected?
One of the things that had changed a lot the last 2 years, and of course the last month, it's the people. The last 2 years, most of the people, they thought that we'll have a republic, nothing is going to have to change.
Things will be the same, except we'll be an independent republic.
And they were talking always about the revolution of smiles. It was a way to say it will be really easy, don't worry. Now people know that it's not going to be like this. But they started for the first time to be self-organized in different, what we say, the defense of the republic or referendum committees.
Committees for the defense of the republic.
Yeah, and it's the first time that we have this, and they started 1 month ago, or 1 or 2 months ago, just to work, and that's something that changed a lot the mood in Catalonia and the things. And for us, after the elections, what we need to do is just, of course, ask for the liberation or the freedom of the people who are in jail. That's obvious. That we will ask, or we will work to defend the Catalan institutions, that for sure. But that we need to start to put some steps for the Republic to have a plan.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, it's not going to be fast, but we have been always talking about having a constitutional process from the bottom, so that's what we need to start. Knowing that the values from the Catalan society are more lefty, so that we can start with this constitutional process, showing that what we want to build is completely different from the Spanish state.
In other words, that how you utilize Catalonian space, social space, becomes a key issue.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility, given that the Spanish state will, and its parties, the two major parties of what I often call the extreme center, the PP and the socialists, are going to do everything in their power to try and make sure that the right is mobilized behind not themselves, because they will now be weak, even the socialists, after what they've done, but Ciudadanos, other parties of the right in Catalonia. Is there any possibility that these parties could win a majority now?
We don't think so. It's quite difficult because we still have another political party that's, let's say, what we say the Comunes. That's the political party from Ada Colau.
Ada Colau, the mayor of Barcelona.
Yeah, that's not exactly the same that Podemos. They are running the elections, but they are just talking about we are not against the independence, but we are not for the independence. So it's something
in between.
In between. So we think that some of the voters from the Socialist Party, that they are not agree with them about applying the 155 article from the Constitution.
By Section 155, you mean the clause in the post-Franco, semi-Franco constitution that permits the Spanish state to dissolve the autonomy granted to these states at any time it wishes.
Yeah, so we can say that we have the non-democratic forces that are running the elections, and we can say that's Popular Party, Socialist Party, and Ciudadanos, and the democratic forces, that's the right-wing Catalan Party, but the Social Democrat Independentist Party, we as the radical leftist party, and then this party, Comuns. We still don't know exactly what they defend as a solution for the conflict between Spain and Catalonia, but that they are against the 155 article of the Constitution. So this can be the majority, but this is not helping to let the parliament make a new government. So we'll see what's going to happen.
Given that after many years of struggle, the Basques in Spain obtained what we can only describe as probably maximum autonomy not so long ago in terms of economic development, the money given to the Basque people. The repression hasn't ended, but there's no armed struggle in the Basque country at all. But what if Catalonia had got the same rights as the Basques?
We'll never know, but we'll never know because things have changed a lot, but maybe
they might have managed to halt the process.
Catalonia, it had been always an independentist movement, but it was not a mass movement. And it started with the economic crisis. It started with the economic crisis to grow or to become a mass movement, but because it was a clash between the workers' class and the Spanish state. And it was something not only in Catalonia and all around Spain, but in Catalonia with the national issue or with the independentist movement, it had more possibilities of going further. The only point that we can just fight the regime is Catalonia. And we know that the window of opportunity is just closing, but we need to do this just for the rest of the Spanish state also, for the rest of the peoples of Spain. Just if we have the right to self-determinate, the other peoples of Spain will have it. The regime, that's the regime, when we talk about the regime, we talk about the political parties, Popular Party, Socialist Party, but we talk about the monarchy. It's something coming from the Franco and from the 78 deals that they had. So this is something that we can change now with the referendum that we had and with the Catalan process. But if this is not working, we will have a regime for a lot of years.
A right-wing regime.
Yeah, a right-wing regime that what they want is just to re-centralize everything. They are starting with Catalonia. They started with applying the 155 article in the Constitution, just suspending the autonomy. So what is trying this regime, the Popular Party, but the whole of the regime is just to keep the power and not let neither municipalities or autonomies to have any power.
The Basque struggle has come to an end, but the mood in the Basque country, I would have thought, quite spontaneously, would have been pro-Catalan. Many Basques must be thinking, we failed, I mean, we've got maximum autonomy, but our struggle failed. And here we have the Catalans who have not used violence at all, who don't have an armed struggle wing like we had with ETA, coming so far that the Spanish government is clearly being seen in the public eye and globally as the people using violence against a peaceful people, which was not the case in the Basque country exactly. So has there been any sympathy in any organized sense from the Basque country?
Yeah, we had always a strong relation with a different organization from the Basque country, and it's still continuing. So we received a lot of solidarity from there, but not only. We have relations and strong relations with different organizations from Galicia. We have also strong relations with different workers' union in Andalusia, in the south of Spain, and also in Castilla. So we have a lot of relations, and we received a lot of solidarity from the rest of Spain. This is why I think we need to distinguish or to make a difference between what is the Spanish state and what's the people from Spain.
Exactly.
And from the people from Spain, we received a lot of solidarity. Okay, we are against the Spanish state because it's a state that's a heritage from the Franquism, that's a patriarchal state that's denying democracy because they are against the referendums. So this is why we are against the Spanish state.
The point is this, that within Spain, a few years ago, not so long ago, there developed a huge social movement all over the country, in Barcelona and Madrid and other big cities too, which offered a great deal of hope. And this huge social movement, which started by occupying the squares to assert social and political rights, later formed itself into a political movement called Podemos. This movement has been seen, at least before the eruption of the crisis in Catalonia, as the one group within this old Spanish state that would be for ultra-democracy, accountability, some social reforms, some changes, some hoped even a republic. But it's not turned out like that exactly. I mean, I'm not saying that they've completely reneged on all their principles, but I remember interviewing Pablo Iglesias for this program a few years ago, a year and a half ago, and he was very clear on the Catalan question that the people of Catalunya had the right to self-determination, and they were in favor of a referendum. But this position got, let's be polite, slightly modified as the crisis grew, with some people within the Podemos leadership more or less turning their back on it, and with the central leaders saying, well, we are not for Section 155, but we are not also for any unilateral declarations. So give me your view on all this. What do you think?
I think at the beginning, Podemos, it was a political party that was against the regime, that they were clear with this. They were, I think, they wanted to transform things really from the roots.
For the whole country.
Yeah, for the whole country. But it's good for Spain if Podemos is growing.
Yes.
And that was for sure. We can say that sometimes when people arrive at the institutions, they just change a little bit, and the power somehow can change people. Nowadays they are saying, okay, we are against
the repression.
The repression. We don't want the 155, but we are not for the independence declaration. What we say is you cannot put both things at the same level. You cannot say that a response from a huge demand from people can be at the same level of the repression of a state deciding that people doesn't have the right to decide. And what they are doing is just putting on the same level and just staying as, okay, I'm just a viewer of all this and I'm not a participant. It's just, okay, we need all people to participate on this. And if you are just a viewer and you are not a participant on this, I don't want you here. Sometimes it seems that they are more worried about having best results on the elections than not solving problems. For us, we always said, okay, we are running the elections, the parliamentarian elections, because we think that we are useful there. But we don't mind if doing one thing or deciding one thing, it can have consequences on the next elections and we are not having the same results.
Eulalia, tell me something about the COP itself. It has grown enormously. When I interviewed Quem, he explained to me the origins of the party movement and how you grew. You first worked a lot in local municipalities. You began to win local councils, win popular support, and you came, if we can put it, from below to the center. And that explains how you controlled so many municipalities and had mayors in different parts of Catalonia. And this was, of course, regarded by many people, even some who didn't agree with you, as a very positive move and the first real radicalization. What has been the development since Section 155 and the repressions? For you as a party, have you grown in size? Have more people joined you, or what?
Yeah, people is joining. They had been joining us for the last 5 years since we started in the Catalan Parliament really fast. But the last month, let's say that people is just looking at us with more interest or trusting
you more.
Yeah, we have been the last 2 years just saying to the Catalan government, you cannot say that this is a revolution, and no one was trusting us, and now they say, okay,
and no one is smiling now.
Yeah, and they say, okay, maybe they were true, and we need to trust more them.
You have been denounced by the Spanish Prime Minister Rajoy as anarchists, as violent anarchists, as people preaching violence, and the only function of these accusations could be to prepare something, if they feel it necessary, to ban you, to make you illegal, so you're forced to go underground, etc., etc. This obsession with anarchism, as we know, of course, dates back to the times of Franco, where Catalonia and anarchism are more or less synonymous. But how would you reply to this accusation by Rajoy?
We always say that we have somehow an anarchist tradition because of, in Catalonia, in the 30s, it was really important, the anarchism. Well, and for us, this history is really important, so we are waiting. We say that we don't have any fear of it. We know that the status quo, the regime, the power is always afraid of people who are just trying to change things. So we are not afraid. We know that they are preparing something, so we are prepared. We'll not say that, okay, we are not afraid and nothing happens. We know that we need to be prepared, that it's not the first time that in the Spanish state they ban a political party. They had done it in the Basque country, so that they can do it. The Basque country, the reality was completely different, but we know that this can be done.
Eulalia Reguant, thank you very much. It's been very good talking, and we will speak again before and after the elections.
Thank you very much.